Welcome to the ReachX podcast. My name is Matthieu Gervis, and today I'm very excited to welcome my friend Gabriele Sabato, CEO of Wiserfunding. Wiserfunding is a London-based fintech company specialized in assessing the credit risk of SMEs. Gabriele, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Matthieu.
You recently published a paper in collaboration with your co-founder, Edward Altman, on the assessment of the creditworthiness of Italian SMEs and the mini bond market. Talk to us about this mini bond market.
Yeah, that's actually an amazing market that in Italy started back in 2014. SMEs, as you know, have always struggled to raise funding in any type of channel they explored. Obviously, traditionally, there was one channel, that was banking, and that's where they went if they needed to raise funds. Fortunately, after the financial crisis in 2008, we have seen new types of sources of funding becoming available. We know about alternative lending in many countries. UK is very developed in that space. Mini bond is just another tool that banks and SMEs can use to interact with each other. It's not just banks, actually there are many players that can invest in mini bonds. The element that is important and was made quite clear in Italy is that that market was open only to institutional investors. And I think this is a key element to really allow a mini bond market to develop and probably to succeed. We have seen in other countries, like for example in Germany or even the UK, where the mini bond market was open also to private individuals, not having the same success, just because obviously there could be a level of financial awareness that is needed to invest in this product. So I think that market started quite slowly in Italy because institutional investors are obviously more financially aware, and for that reason, they pay more attention on where they invest their money. But then it got traction, and as of today, we're almost at 16 billion outstanding have been issued in that market, and more than 700 companies have benefited of issuing mini bonds. So a great success, I would say, for SMEs.
Okay, so now obviously people are asking this question, the quality, mini bond, are those kind of, quality companies? Can you describe what, you found in your report and your findings about the quality of the issuers?
Absolutely. That was actually the reason why Professor Altman and I got into the picture, because the Italian stock exchange, where these mini bonds are traded, was actually struggling to attract investors. And they thought that a credible, independent risk assessment would help to attract more investors. They were absolutely right. They got in touch with Professor Altman, I got into the picture, we agreed to develop a model, and that's basically what is behind the study that we have just recently published. That model was received extremely well. We ran it on all the companies that had issued mini bond and all the SMEs in Italy. And we compared the two, because you're absolutely right. A common belief is that a company that would go for an alternative channel to the banking one is probably because was rejected from banks. And it's actually what we prove in the study not being true. The average quality of the companies that were in our sample and that issued mini bond is actually better than the average quality of SMEs in Italy.
Okay, thank you. Now, the other question is pricing, obviously. So how do people use your Z-score to help pricing mini bonds?
Yeah, that was quite surprising to us. We basically found, you can see a very nice graph in the study, that the relationship between risk and reward, so interest paid by those mini bonds, was pretty much flat. So no matter what the risk profile was, the interest would not really be associated with it. And obviously this could be caused by several factors. Probably the fact that there wasn't a real risk culture is one of the most important factors. And this causes inefficiency, obviously. A market that is not efficient does not attract investors. There is less funding and everyone loses. So it is so important to make sure that everyone is aware of what the risk trade-off is and is well established, so that basically every market can attract more investors, more funds, and benefit every player in the market. So I think this study is very interesting. We have now been working for 3 years with the Italian Stock Exchange on this specific market, and we've actually seen the slope of the curve, so the relationship between the price, the interest, and the risk of the bond improving. So slowly we are actually seeing a change. Probably we are part of the reasons because of this change is happening, but it's a very positive change.
Thank you. Now, your Z-score, the Z-score that Professor Altman invented over 50 years ago, which was adapted for the Italian bond market to rate the mini bonds, now you've developed across Europe. So do you want to tell us about, Wiserfunding and the type of projects that you've done for investors and how you've developed your product pan-Europeanly?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, that has been an exciting journey. Probably this study was the start of it. Immediately after presenting this to the stock exchange and the investors around the mini bond market, we realized that there was a massive demand. And so Professor Altman and I decided that this was worth a try, and that's when we incorporated Wiserfunding. That was towards the end of 2016, and we only had one model, this one for Italy. So on the back of this experience and of several studies that we had already published before, we started to develop models for every country in Europe by sector and country. So as of today, we have more than 60 models, and we've also developed the technology that allows everyone across the world to simply go into our platform and download a full risk assessment in few seconds on any company across the world. So it's becoming a very powerful tool, very focused on SMEs. That is what we really want to look at and help to grow, and slowly moving even outside of Europe. So it's being a really, really exciting opportunity.
Great, congratulations. Thank you very much for being with us today, and we look forward to working with you and our clients in SME rating. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matthieu.